Can Suzanne hear us?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, call to order the Wednesday, December 14th, 2022 meeting of the tax increment reinvestment zone number 3. Public comment. Madam Assistant City Secretary, do we have anyone signed up for public comment? Is there anyone here who would like to comment? Okay, thank you. We'll go to item number 3, election of officers. Consideration of an action on election of vice chairman, secretary, and other officers as deemed necessary. Jessica Hubble, Senior Development Manager. Would you please take us through this, Jessica?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. So through the creation of ordinance 1667, the board is authorized to elect from their members a vice chairman, a secretary, and any other officers the board sees fit. As the ordinance reserves the right to appoint a chairman each year from city council, they did appoint position 1 Representative Stuart Jacobson for their term ending December 31st, 2023. So as a reminder, the chairman's role is to preside over meetings of the board, sign all documents requiring execution on the board's behalf, with the vice chair responsible for those duties in the chairman's absence and the secretary responsible for any signatures as needed. In September 2021, the board selected position 3, Representative Mary Willis, to serve as vice president, and position 5, Representative Courtney Rose, serving as secretary. So at this time, Mr. Jacobson, you can take over for nominations for vice chair and then secretary.
Okay, is there any prohibition against people continuing to serve in the same role? Okay. Would anybody, let's take vice chairman first. Would anybody like to nominate someone or themselves for vice chair?
I'll nominate Mary to continue in her role as vice president.
Are you cool with that?
I'm cool with that.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a vote. All,
Just keep showing up, sir.
all in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Suzanne, okay, that's 4-0. All right, secretary, would anybody like to nominate themselves or another? Suzanne, we don't want to miss you. Did you want to nominate yourself for secretary by any chance? Is that a yes or a no?
I don't think you're shaking her head. No, he's doing
I
it.
nominate Carol McCutcheon as secretary of TIRZ 3. Do you accept?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay, passes 4-0. Thank you. Number 4, annual report. A, consideration of an action on a recommendation of the fiscal year 2022 annual report to the members of City Council. Jessica Hubble again, Senior Development Manager.
So before we get started, we wanted to provide a quick update on the Imperial Char House Preservation Project as it does reside within TIRZ 3. So the city's been working diligently over the past year with Human Development, who's proposing preservation and redevelopment of the Char House, with the ultimate goal for the larger property to develop into a mixed-use development featuring retail, office, residential, park space, things like that. While no plans have been submitted at this time, we felt it very important to engage the community early on to get their sentiment and their feelings about it. Projects like this are very expensive and complex, so we will be looking at all funding available to use, like federal, state, local, as well as the development's contribution. So we're taking a very strategic approach to how we're engaging the community. We've done press releases, social media posts. We're hosting 2 town halls. So residents can hear from the developer directly and then ask questions directly to them, all before the purchase of the land has even been closed on. So we held our first town hall last Thursday. We saw 140 participants, which well exceeded our expectations. And then we have another one tomorrow evening starting at 5:30. So the town halls, just so everybody knows, they will be recorded and they'll be placed on this project webpage by early next week. So you can always go back and watch them if you're not able to attend. And we do encourage everyone to follow along on the project progress on this webpage. We'll be keeping it updated as it progresses. There's also tools on there to be able to answer questions that go or ask questions that go directly to staff. So people can continue that dialogue, without the town halls themselves. And with that, we will jump into the annual report. So this report is a requirement of Chapter 311 of the Texas Tax Code. Included in the report are the zoned values, revenues, and expenditures. And then upon board's approval, the report is reviewed and approved by City Council, and then is sent to the state comptroller as well as all of the taxing entities that reside within the district. So some zone basics. Before we review the report, the zone was created by the city in 2007 with a 5.6 million base value and a 50% participation rate. In 2013, the county agreed to participate at 50% of property taxes collected above their base value of 11.7 million. Finally, the 2016 tri-party funding agreement committed 98% of the zone's revenues to the Imperial Redevelopment District to enact the TIRZ project plan, while the remaining 2% is retained by the zone for administrative service costs. So we will go into, starting with the revenues. In FY22, a total of 1.3 million was received in revenue. Roughly 704,000 was received by the county's incremental tax, 605,000 from the city, and $142 in the interest income. For expenditures, the total was around 1.3 million. About 19,000 was spent on legal services, 6,000 was spent on administration services, and 1.2 million was transferred to the Imperial Redevelopment District for that TIRZ project plan that we just spoke of. Additionally, the zone has no prior outstanding bond indebtedness, and none was incurred in FY 2022. So next, for the captured values for the tax year 2021, which is the same as fiscal year 2022, the city's appraised value came in at 324.8 million. So given the $5.6 million base value, the total captured value is just over 319 million. And then next we'll look at the counties. The appraised value came in at 337 million. So given the county's $11.7 million tax base, the total captured value is roughly 325.3 million. And then finally, as previously mentioned, the total taxes received for tax year 2021, fiscal year 2022 is 1.3 million, which is right there. That means since the creation of the zone in 2007, the zone has received approximately 5.4 million in tax increment. And with that, staff recommends the board approval, the recommendation of City Council for the TIRZ 3 fiscal year 2022 annual report. As a reminder, copies of the report will be sent to the state comptroller and all taxing entities within the zone following that. With that, I can take any questions.
Thank you, Jessica. Anybody have any questions for Jessica? No, anybody care to make a motion to approve, to recommend
I move that we approve this recommendation for them.
Okay, we have a motion by Willis.
Second.
Okay. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye and raise your hand if you're on the video only. Okay, any against? Okay, passes 5-0. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Anybody care to make a motion to adjourn? Okay.
That's it.
Thank you, everybody.
Wow.